What did it do? I'm tearing up this popcorn, boy. I just watched Lil Baby's documentary. First of all, it has me chilled out. It has me like, I'm like, everybody says, oh, I'm an empath, I'm an empath. I don't know if I'm necessarily an empath, because I can like turn it off. So just because people are sad around me does not mean I'm about to be sad. But I can, like, if I let myself over to it, if I can choose to just fully like open myself up to an energy or a feeling. And the way that he has seen so much, and like his background was like street for real, like not just, I don't know, man. It's like I didn't find out anything new for real, but that's why I knew I shouldn't eat popcorn on live. It's just the fact that, like, wow, what really got me is that, first of all, it's harder than you think to maintain fame and to build a career. It's hard. You would think it's easy, really, in the entertainment industry, because you're like, oh, it's fun. You know, work is work. And one of the things that he struggled with, not struggle with, but he had to break through, was leaving the fast money that he was making. Because I didn't know that he was making millions already before he ever put out a song, before he ever thought about rapping. So that really affected me. And I just feel like I got this whole, when I say I feel chilled out, it's like I got this whole persona now of like, I've kind of seen it all. Even though I haven't seen it all. And I was watching that documentary like thanking God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, that I didn't grow up in that environment. That I didn't grow up seeing bodies outside my door. Like, hold up. Anyway, something that CEO P said, the CEO of Quality Control Music, who is a label that also has Migos and Cardi B, and I think they did manage Gucci at one point. They did manage Jeezy. Anyway, they a lot of people. He said your breakthrough is related to your sacrifice. Your breakthrough comes from your sacrifice. I don't know if I'm getting that word for word. You don't gotta think about it. You feel it. I think there's even a Bible verse that says, you know the truth by the way it feels. Or that's an India RE lyric, actually. The Bible might say that, it might not, but it's definitely an India RE lyric. You know the truth by the way it feels. But the Bible does say, my sheep know my voice. And if you feel like the voice of God is true, then that's the same thing, ain't it? Anyway. And he said, yeah, your breakthrough comes from your sacrifice. And for Lil Baby, that sacrifice was fast money that you're seeing every day that you can make quickly. Sacrificing that for a rap career that is not guaranteed to make it or to make you money. And even if it is, it might not make you as much or as fast. Like, whew. That's so crazy. We all deal with our own things. We all go through our own things. That's not a internal struggle I've ever had to have. And I'm grateful for all the struggles that God has protected me from. We are all built specifically what we're going through. The next person can't handle it. I don't know what I would have done. But the thing is, I wouldn't be me. If I was in his situation, I wouldn't even be who I am right now. So my whole mentality would be different. My whole decision-making process will be different. My motivations would be different. My desires would be different. I would not be me. Like, biologically, I would still be me. But stress changes you physically. Like, it changes your DNA. So even my DNA might end up not looking the same as it looks like right now. That's not to say I don't be stressed or I've never gone through anything. It's just different types of stresses. I think they show up differently. They have different effects on you. Anyway, it touched me because it had me like, well, what's my sacrifice? Because a lot of people don't know the period of life that I'm in right now, and it might not be time to share everything, but I'm just in a period where it's like, I would have thought that I'd be moving a lot different than I am right now. And it's almost like I'm on the brink of everything that I've ever wanted. It's like, why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you going after it? And there are reasons that I'll share later, but it's like him saying that helped me frame my current life and my pursuit of this music dream and just trying to get this music out. Like, what is my sacrifice? Because if I can think of it like that, like, my breakthrough is directly related to my sacrifice. It's no longer asking God, when? I'm very clear at this point that it's me. It's me. And there's a lot of different things I could be doing in my life right now. There's a lot of improvements I could be making. But I can't do everything at once. Like, you can't just fix everything overnight or all at once. So what I'm trying to figure out right now from his documentary is, what is the one thing? When I say thing, it might not just be like one activity, but one concept, one statement, one whatever, that is my sacrifice. Because if I can wrap my head around the fact that it's not really, I don't view it as a sacrifice, view it as the breakthrough. That's the breakthrough. I know for me, it's something to do with like behind the scenes work. Something to do with it in some aspect, which everything is usually behind the scenes. But no, that's not necessarily true, because some people's sacrifice is performing, doing things that's in front of the camera, because that's truly not them. And I'll never understand that struggle. Like, I have moments of that. I've had like little seasons of that, but naturally as a person, I'm not afraid to get in front of a camera. I was like that since a kid. So like, I understand that I'll never be able to understand. I'll never be able to understand the struggles that anybody else goes through. I don't know anybody. I only know me. I don't know anybody. Because for me to know somebody, you know every single thing. You know every single life experience. You almost like a therapist. Like, you know, not only do you know, but you also understand how they interpret everything that's happened to them. Nobody can do that for you or for me except for ourselves and God. I was just telling this producer last night that God is the only one who knows us, for real. He's the only one who can be inside of us and sees everything and knows how we feel. Anyway, yeah, so it gave me something to think about. But it's not like in a sad way. Like, it was exciting. I'm mad hungry. That's why I'm turning up this popcorn. I want to cook though. I want to cook, and I'm gonna film myself cooking. Peace out. ATM down. Oh, and another thing, one last thing about the documentary. It showed me, yeah, I get such deep thoughts about like almost everything. I'm watching it, and the way that he's talking about Atlanta and painting Atlanta, not even painting, he's sharing his experiences, and then the other people, they have this historian on there talking about what Atlanta did during the in preparation for the Olympics when it was held there. I'm just picking out all them people. And they had somebody on there interviewing, and she was like, I don't understand why you would kick out families for 3 weeks of whatever, for anything that's going on for 3 weeks. They're tearing down buildings, kicking out families and whatever. Do you know that's affecting a generation? When you do something that affects an entire family, you are starting a domino effect with unknown consequences. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but you are starting a effect. Like you're becoming the cause of an effect down the line. And what's so insidious about it is that we'll never be able, only God understands the specific tapestry of all the causes and effects in everything that has happened in history, in your personal relationships, in like historical type stuff. Bro, what is that? What's on my eye? All right. Anyway, only God knows the effects of all that, but that don't mean that you're free from those consequences. Like, and that's my thing. That could have started a trend of homelessness within a family, because a kid grows up in a situation where they're housing insecure. They're not secure in their housing. That's their normal. So it's not too far from a possibility for them when they grow up. They always know that's an option. As opposed to somebody who never got evicted growing up. They never heard their parents worry about money, nothing. Which is like me. I never struggled with money until I got out on my own. My mama did a good job. It was all me. It was all me. She did a great job. She was younger than me, raising me. I'm like, man, you a good one, because anyway. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is it made me see Atlanta differently. This is not the first time I've seen Atlanta painted in this light. But Lil Baby is such like a case study to me. There are certain people in the music industry, in other industries too, but more specifically the music industry, where they are so interesting to me. And it could be for different reasons. It could be for one reason. It could be for several reasons at the same time. Sometimes people are interesting to me because they have they have traits that are seemingly opposing. That's exactly what it is. That's what it is. I just answered a question I had. I am artistically, spiritually, I'm just like, as a human, I'm attracted. This is not, when I say attracted, I do not just mean romantically. I believe, like, in this context that I'm saying it, it's not just romantically. It could be a lot of different ways. You could be attracted to, say you're an athlete and you're attracted to somebody who's better than you, and you want to, not everybody's built like this. Most people are going to just feel like they're either not going to like them, or they're going to try to sabotage them, or they're going to downplay the person's greatness. But some of us, a small percentage, we are going to be like in awe, like, dang, they beat me again. How'd you do that? Like, it's a real study thing. It's like, it's my love for learning. If you have a love for learning, somebody that has a love for learning, I can tell. Zane Lowe, the guy who does those Apple interviews. Apple was on to something when they hired him to do that. I don't know if he brought the idea to Apple, and I hope it's Apple. That's the right company, but I don't know if he brought this idea to them, and he was like, all right, and then they were like, all right, we'll fund it. Or if they wanted to do this series of interviews, but they had to find the right person. Whatever happened, Zane Lowe, and I didn't realize this until, I haven't watched all his interviews, but like a few months ago, I watched the one with, he interviewed, and I had probably seen him before. I'd probably watched his interviews before, but I don't pay attention to interviewers. I'm always there for the person they're interviewing. But I remember the interview where I started to be like, who is this guy? When he was interviewing the guy who used to manage Chance the Rapper. He no longer manages him, but he used to when Chance first came out. So that interview was extremely interesting. I was way more interested than I thought, because I realized I'm learning things. Like, it always comes down to that. And it's not a conscious, like, ooh, I want to learn something today. It's just like, I'll find myself interested in something or intrigued by it. And now that I'm talking it out, I'm realizing it's because there's something for me to learn there. And I love learning. Now, don't get that confused with I love school. And that might be my sacrifice right there. Woo! Let the weak say they are strong. So, I love school. I love school. I'm a software developer who graduated at the top of her class. Yeah. Tabia, you are so popular. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, that one popcorn was so good. It was just super buttery and salty. And you think, like, after it's done being hot, it's not really gonna be that good anymore, but anyway. What was that second thought? Okay, interviewed him. I be going all over the place. And that's how I know I need to be on a podcast, which I did start one, by the way, y'all. It's on my SoundCloud. I'm planning on matching up the audio. I can actually do that today. Matching up the audio with some footage of me editing, like in Studio One, which is a DAW. DAW, Digital Audio Workstation. It's how people record music. Anyway, podcast. Zane Lowe interviewed Chance the Rapper's old manager. He done a lot of interviews, but the ones that I watched that made me like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? Artistically and like intellectually, is that one, and then the one with Jack Harlow and the one with Kanye. The one that sealed the deal for me, the one with Kanye just made me, the deal was already sealed with like my addition of Zane Lowe to my list of people that I now watch. Like, he's on my radar intellectually. Intellectually is not the right word, because it's not necessarily that. That's just one of the ways that he's on my radar. But other people can get on my radar for other reasons. I would be interested. I like humans. Now, anyway. The one with Jack Harlow sealed the deal for me with Zane Lowe. I know this is supposed to be a video about Lil Baby's documentary, but this is just how I be talking. And I don't feel like I can talk like this to other people because I'm always very aware of like, dang, I'm just talking. And they might feel like I'm talking too much. So, like, there's a lot of things I don't say. There's a lot. But you can skip around. Anyway. Yeah, the one with Jack Harlow, it was just the questions were so... They weren't regular interview questions. And I might want a Waffle House waffle. That sounds good. But they went up on their prices, y'all. That All-Star Slam used to be $7.25 straight every single time, no matter what state you was in. It's like, it's 10 something now. And that alone is going to make me not want to go. It's the principle. I have relied on you, Waffle House, for being the staple, consistent item. Now y'all switching it up like Little Caesars. I think they got $6 now. It's not about the money. And I get it. You don't gotta explain. I get it. They should have been raised their prices. But they gonna do what they do as a business, and I'm gonna do what I do as a consumer, which is decide whether or not I want to consume your item. And let's not get it twisted. One of the most appealing things about some of these things that we buy is their price. It's not really the item itself. So when you mess with that price, you're messing. This exists outside of supply and demand. This is like a whole nother chart. This is like expectations. If you go outside of our expectations too fast without warning, you're probably going to lose customers. You might gain higher paying customers, so you end up profiting. And as a business, if that's what you want to do, then do that. And then consumers, if you want to no longer buy the product, then do that. Like, everybody has a right to do whatever they want. Anyway, the Jack Harlow conversation made me see. Well, I already knew Jack Harlow was like that. Honestly, this is one of the more calmer versions of him that I've seen since I started like actually paying attention to him. Which I was late. I was very late. Extremely late. I'm not gonna tell y'all how late I was. And that's so funny because I was late on Lil Baby too. I be late. I be late most of the time. Wow. I'm hitting revelation after revelation because in real life, anyway, I'm not going to speak it. If it's not positive, if it's not what I want my life to be or continue being, I'm not even going to speak it. So, they would have had, even if the cameras weren't rolling. And then, oh my gosh, there was just, it's this presence. Zane Lowe has this presence. It's so important to make people feel like they're listened to. That's so important. And that's another reason why I don't be saying everything that I want to say when I'm talking to people. I want people to leave an interaction with me feeling like they got to express something. They got to get something out. That don't mean like venting. It could mean like I just had a friend come pick up her camera. The friend who's been letting me use her camera. That was a very short exchange. But even in that, I would want her to get back into her car and feel like say she said, "Oh yeah, I'm using the camera for this," or I don't know. This is just an example. She's sharing like a part of her. She's sharing something from her, something that was inside her came out, and she gave it to me. Whether it's information, whether it's relief, or I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want her to pull up and I'm like, oh, here, oh my gosh, and all this type of stuff. Okay, all right, bye, gotta go. She didn't even get a word in. It's like those little type things. It doesn't matter, but it matters. That's the stuff that actually ends up mattering. And then that's why you can't understand why you feel a certain way about a person you just do, whether that's good or bad. It's because of every single millisecond of the information that you collect during all y'all's interactions. Because we're always collecting way more information than we're registering or remembering or keeping at the conscious level. That's why somebody can do you wrong today, and then in 10 years you see them again and you don't remember what they did, but you have some sort of feeling like, I feel like I don't like you. It's because that information is there. Elephants are not the best rememberers. You think God's gonna give... You think our God is gonna give a better memory to an elephant than us? When we the ones who really, really need the memory so we can remember what he's done for us? Come on now. We just gotta... There's a lot of ways you can improve your memory, but that information is there. The information is there. You just gotta access it. Anyway, back to the Lil Baby documentary, and I'm about to be off here because I want to get on the road. Jeez. It made me be like, I need to be more careful of who I align my love with. Who and what I'm publicly declaring a love for, or publicly declaring affinity for, or it represents me. Because I was just in Atlanta performing at the Auburn Music Festival, and I was on Instagram like, this is my city, I love this city. I was being thirsty for Atlanta. I don't care. I don't care, but I am aware. I'll be aware of how I'm perceived. And if I'm not aware, God makes me aware. That makes me aware. Sometimes it'd be disappointing or sad. It's like, dang, y'all still see me like that? I be wanting people to understand dualities. You can be this and this. And that's why that's interesting to me when I see other people doing it. Because I'm like, you know, you're really like changing the game right now. And they might think that I'm being like so dramatic or just weird or just like fangirling. But I fangirl very intentionally. I'm very aware and intentional of my fangirl moments. So if you ever see me fangirling over a concept or a company or a artist or a idea or a song, like anything, please know I'm aware. I'm aware of the cringe that it might possibly give people, but know that I value me expressing my feelings over not coming off cringy or not coming off corny. I still don't want to be corny. I don't want to, not only do I not want to be corny or cringy, I don't want to come off as that. I don't want people to associate none of that with me. But I'm aware they do. And at this point, I'm almost 30. Y'all just gonna have to think I am who you think I am, because I'm gonna be me. I'm not spending this life trying to please y'all and then on my deathbed like, why didn't I live life? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Like I said in Soul Repair, I said I'd rather cry now. No, I'd rather cry now than smile through a divorce. Basically, you might not think those two things are connected, but they are. Because it's like, I will go through the struggle right now. A struggle right now for me is being vulnerable and accepting the fact that people are going to see me as like just a straight nerd and nothing else. Nothing else. There's people that don't even see me as like a real black girl. But I have to realize, you know what, that's on you. I was in your same boat too. I used to have a very narrow definition of blackness, but I have evolved out of that, and I'm going to now operate from my new knowledge. I'm not going to continue to come back to where I know the rest of society is operating at. No. And I'm going to just rely on the wisdom and discernment of God to let me know, like, when to come down to that level of awareness. Because there are times where that's good and that's helpful to the situation. But yeah, anyway, it made me realize, y'all, I promise 20 more seconds, I'm done. No, I'm serious. Atlanta is not just all peaches and cream. It has a history that's like, and then knowing how hard it's made it for black people, I'm like, I don't know if I want to champion loving Atlanta so much all the time. All right, bye, y'all. Thank you for watching.